There's a lot of fights, man. I've probably had since 2002. I've had over 200 fights.
Jeez.
And and some of those are not official because some of those are not on the record. Obviously, I fought 5 times in one night, and as soon as he hit me, a light just went off, and I tried my best to kill this man.
What happens when rage is all you know? For Houston Alexander, rage was survival, a childhood scarred by violence, a boy forced to grow up hard. That same rage followed him until one night, a dare to fight changed everything. He shocked the world with one of the fastest knockouts in UFC history and rose from pain to purpose. Because this isn't about violence, it's about mastering what once controlled you. This isn't just a fighter's story, it's the story of what it really means to win.
After the fight was over, they had to get that man a wheelchair because he couldn't walk. I walked out of there, but he couldn't walk because I kicked that man probably over 50 times.
When they hear Houston Alexander, they think of like Houston, the as of now, bare-knuckle boxer.
Yeah.
Or they think of Houston destroying Kimbo Slice's kneecaps. You know what I'm saying? I still, hey, listen, I still remember, I watched that live.
Hey, man, so many people was mad at me, man. Because
you did exactly what you needed to do.
But yeah, I went in and did what I was supposed to do. And I keep reliving that over and over. But the thing is, we wanted him in that fight.
Yeah.
We was kicking him to draw him in. But he just stood there.
He stood there.
While I kicked him.
Flat foot.
While I kicked him and went around him, he just stood there. He wouldn't take the bait. Because as soon as he would have rushed to come in, we saw that he dropped his left. And so I was gonna hit him with that elbow.
Yeah.
I was just gonna bring the elbow over and hit him with the elbow. But he never rushed me. He just stood there.
Regardless of that, that was still crazy to see somebody from the city on that stage fighting somebody who had, because that was when social media was just starting to pop off. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing all Kimbo's backyard fights, just sleeping dudes, and then being able to say somebody from the city stood toe to toe with Kimbo and came out like, I'm like that.
And it's funny because no one knew what happened afterwards because after the fight was over, we was talking, we started chopping it up, and they had to get that man a wheelchair because he couldn't walk.
Oh yeah,
and
I bet he could.
I walked out of there, but he couldn't walk because I kicked that man probably over 50 times.
He tore his leg up.
And back then, the judging was a little different. So they didn't count kicks as strikes back then. So if they would have count kicks as strikes back then, I would have won the fight easy.
Yeah.
Because he might have hit me 2 or 3 times the whole entire fight. He got the one takedown, but that mat was so soft.
It was pillows.
Yeah. The people don't realize that UFC ring, it's very padded.
Okay.
And so please, I did breakdance moves harder than that.
Facts.
Whatever, that was funny though. It was funny, but yeah, people keep asking me about that. But the whole point of people asking me is because it was Kimbo at the time, and he had all the momentum going his way. So I didn't expect it. If I wasn't going in there putting it down like I was supposed to, he was gonna get it.
Facts. But that's where most people, I think, will know, but they don't realize you do more than just the fighting. You've done more than just the fighting. Yeah. Even like you said, man, just my remembering from, I was 6th grade. I think that was 2006.
That's crazy.
When you pulled up to the school.
That was crazy.
And so you're doing much more than just what people see. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, man, and what you do and what you've been doing over the years?
Well, I'm originally from East St. Louis, Illinois. We moved up here in 1980. And we moved up here because of domestic violence.
Okay.
So I know you focus a lot on mental health, but we ended up moving from out of that city to coming up here, to get away from a situation that was going on down there in East St. Louis. So we come up here stayed with my aunt, and I've been here ever since.
Man.
But what's so funny is that East St. Louis was a real place, and I remember my first fight was with five or six guys trying to take my candy bar on the playground. and matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you something. They didn't take my candy bar.
He said, "I gave."
But I'm still looking for them though. I'm gonna board the camera. I'm still looking for you trying to take my candy bar back in the day. But anyway, and I think the last straw with being in East St. Louis is when these kids tried to jump my brother, and I stopped them from jumping my brother, but some kid threw a rock. It hit me in the eye. And busted open my eye, man. Oh, yeah. But it been you got stories like that. Cause I was already a seasoned vet in fighting before I even got up to Omaha. And when we decided to move up here, my first week here at school, I got into a fight because of the way I talked. Because back then, my accent was a lot deeper. It was more Nelly.
Okay.
Then back then, her, cur, were, and her is all. But yeah, my first week here in Omaha, I got into a fight with 3 or 4 guys, and ended up whooping on all of them. And this is true story. I've never told this story on any podcast or any interview. But yeah, my first week in Omaha, Nebraska, ended up getting into a fight and fought my way because of how I looked, light skin, big lips, afro. I don't know if they thought I was soft, but after me putting these hands on them back then,
he said they found out.
They found out real quick. But yeah, throughout my whole entire, going to elementary, middle school, high school, people always wanted to fight me. I don't know why. I was a quiet kid. You know what I'm saying? Athletic kid, artistic kid, not artistic, but artistic.
He said, just to clarify.
Yeah. This want to break that down. But if you fast forward to becoming a preteen, that's when I fell in love with hip hop culture. When the movies Breaking, B Street, you had movies like that were shown to us for the first time. That's when I fell in love with hip hop. And there was a movie called Flashdance. Mm-hmm. And this is back in the day when cable.
Oh,
when cable first came out, when Cox Cable first came out back in the early 80s. And me and my brother were sitting up here watching one of the movies, and then one of the movies was Flashdance. And I'm watching this movie, and there was this 1-minute scene in the movie where the Rocksteady crew was dancing on the sidewalk. And ever since then, I wanted to break dance. I asked my mother to buy an album. I bought an album where it had the instructions on how to break dance. After watching that one scene, and from that's when the culture started with me, with doing the art, dancing, and doing anything that had anything to do with the culture.
I feel that. Real quick, I wanna dial back a little bit, man.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
Yeah, because you talked about the reason that you moved here was because of domestic violence.
Yeah, brother.
I wanna go there for a second, because I think that's a space that a lot of people can relate to, but don't necessarily talk about. And a lot of times, especially unfortunately, in our culture as a whole, and when I say our culture as a whole, I don't just mean Black culture, but I mean American culture. It's almost normalized. It's almost domestic violence. It just is what it is. You don't talk about it. Your parents say what happened in this house stays in this house, and you just kind of keep it pushing like that. But can you talk about your experience with domestic violence, what that looked like, and how that impacted you when you were that young age?
As a therapist, you didn't go through years of schooling just to wonder where your next client is coming from. Maybe you got an empty calendar, no clients at all. Or maybe you're saying yes to every single issue just to keep the lights on. Either way, it's burning you out and making you question if private practice is even worth it. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be this way. You can build your practice that consistently attracts your ideal clients, lights you up again and fills you up with purpose and passion, and actually pays you what you're worth. My name is Peyton Hogan. I scaled my private practice to 7 figures in just 4 years. And I also hit 6 figures in my very first year. I know what it feels like to be stuck. And I also know exactly what it takes to break through that stuck. That's why I'm hosting a free webinar where I'll walk you through the framework I use to do just that. It's the same steps that can help you go from guessing and grinding to thriving in your business with clarity, confidence, and a full caseload. So make sure you click the link, save your spot, and let's start building the practice that you were called to lead. There's limited seats, so make sure you get yours today, and I'll see you there.
Well, my mother had gotten young, married young to my father. And I think there was a point with them too that when you're young like that, you're still trying to find yourself, and for two people to get together, and you're gonna have your differences and your grievances, but I don't think, and this is from me, my point of view, men have to learn to love, and it seems like women are naturally nurturing in that way. But that could be vice versa. Some women would have to learn to love, and some men are nurturing. So, but in our case, I believe that my parents got together young, and were still trying to find their way. And my father, he wasn't the best husband, and I just put it that way. He wasn't the best husband, so my mother decided to, get out of the situation. And while getting out of the situation, she wanted to just get out of the city, period. And so we had a aunt that was in Omaha, and she invited us to come to Omaha. And the one reason how I knew about Omaha was through a program called Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom that we used to watch every Saturday on TV. and it was about some wildlife preserve, but the insurance company Mutual of Omaha sponsored it, and so we would hear this every Saturday, and me and my brother would hear it every Saturday, and my mother came up to us and said, "We're moving to Omaha," and so me and my brother are looking at each other. We're like, hold on for a second. We're moving where they're filming the lions, the tigers, and the bears. Me and my brother got instantly scared because we thought we was moving to some wildlife city. But hey man, that's back in the day when people used to get on a Greyhound bus.
Yeah,
it was me, my brother, and my sister, and my mother getting on the Greyhound, and we headed up here. Because of, and when I make fun of it, but it's not funny. Because of domestic violence and because of people not understanding each other at a young age and still making mistakes. Because that's what it is to me. Not knowing who you are, or you've been taught something that's not you.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume it probably took a while for you to come to that realization or that understanding.
Yeah.
Because as a kid to be able to interpret it the way that you are now is probably impossible. And it probably was a lot of frustration on both sides. Like, I love my dad, but I don't love the way my dad treats my mom, or what my mom, or what's going on.
Or they could be vice versa.
Yeah, both of them, both ways.
Women, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so a couple of things. One, what's your relationship like with your dad now? And then number two, was it a culture shock, or was there a huge difference from coming from East St. Louis to Omaha back in the 80s?
Well, I'm cool with my father. Yeah. I obviously, as a grown man now, you kind of feel parts of what a young father might have been feeling at the time. As a grown man now, I can put myself in his place and kind of understand where he was coming from back then. So our relationship is cool, no problem. My mother's relationship, cool, no problem. And moving to Nebraska, there was a culture shock, because if you Google or even go to YouTube, and I see some of these, these short clips where they say there's a few cities in America that are the blackest cities in America. And guess what? East St. Louis was one of them. I didn't see outside of my, I had some family members that were mixed. I didn't see white people until I got to Nebraska. It wasn't a culture shock. It was just like, oh,
it's foreign.
I wouldn't even call it foreign. I've never seen this many white folks coming to Nebraska. Because I remember my first day here coming off the Greyhound bus. My first video game was Spy Hunter. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And I remember my uncle rolling up in a Cutlass Supreme, white Cutlass Supreme, and I remember the song I heard when I first got into the car. It was Kool and the Gang, that song called Too Hot. Now see, this was my experience, my experience from a kid's point of view, getting off the Greyhound bus from East St. Louis with my mother. And I remember, I remember the smell, and I remember looking up at the building, the Woodman Tower building at the time, because it was the tallest one here. That was my experience as a kid. Me and my brothers coming to Omaha. I can still smell the coffee and I have this vivid imagination of us being here for the first time.
Was it a hopeful? Did you have a hopeful feeling about Omaha when you came, or was it kind of like, damn?
No, man, we were scared.
Yeah.
I was 8 years old, and I wasn't scared, but I think it was more so a different experience. We just we got out of a situation. We left a lot of the family members behind. That we were coming up with, and it was just a feeling of anxiety. Of being in a different city, and we weren't scared because we were still with family.
Yeah,
but it was just more anxiety.
So once you started to integrate and Omaha really started to become home.
Yeah.
Were there any like major experiences for you that really shifted the trajectory of your life?
Besides getting into all those fights with kids,
that was prep. That was prep for the big stage.
That was crazy, man. Because I'm telling you, every school I went to, there was something with somebody, and it was just either the way I talked or the way I looked that they didn't like. But I believe being here, I think some things I took out of being here in the first couple of years was about family and keeping family together, but making the friends I did make. I can still I still know the names of some of the people I met or some of the kids that I met to this day. So I think coming here, I think it being a chilled out area, Omaha is still bigger than East St. Louis. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, so
it's bigger.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger. Even though the population was all black down in East St. Louis, you can look it up. Omaha is still probably bigger than East St. Louis, and so I think coming here and seeing the people and being around all these different types of people, because again, we were used to being around a number of black people.
Yeah.
I've been around all these types of people and seeing the culture shift probably changed the way I kind of grew up in the neighborhood.
Definitely. I want to talk a little bit more on that, man.
Yeah,
because I don't think that's something that's talked about enough.
And we can get deep. We can go deep into that, because I know you're real big into the mental health thing, and a lot of the traumas that we go through as kids. We just kind of sit on them, and we're sitting down as adults and grown men talking about this, and this is what need to be talked about.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Absolutely. One of the perspectives that don't normally get talked about is when you're black and you're in a community where there's a lot of black people, mm-hmm. and like you said, where you were at East St. Louis, you rarely saw any white people, and moving to a place where now there are white people around. I went to college out in Wayne, and so a lot of the people that came to Wayne, they were white people, and they mm-hmm. were like, man, my town, my township, my village, wherever they came from, we ain't got no black. I ain't never seen no black people like that.
That's crazy.
And so
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Again, the culture shock is vice versa for people too.
Yeah.
So, but again, is that a regional thing in here in the U.S.? Yeah, it's a regional thing, man.
But for a young black man that never really experienced or had never been in the presence of somebody who was white like that, like what was that like to see to see some? I mean, you probably seen it on TV, seen it in movies, but then it's like, oh, this is a real.
But no, I wouldn't say the first time seeing.
Just being in close proximity with more.
Yeah. I don't think because obviously down in East St. Louis, there's some people down there.
Yeah.
But I think being around people culturally again it was different, and I'm sure it was different from you and Wayne. So and I think for me it was more so how the world really was, finding out how the world really was through the public schools here. And integrating and talking to other kids, because again, it wasn't just white kids that were here in Omaha, Nebraska. You had a lot of Asian kids that were migrating here. You had a lot of Hispanic kids, but it was a mixture of kids, and I think it still kind of stayed the same because Omaha, Nebraska is very sectioned off race wise. Mm-hmm. And when we first moved here, we was on the north side of Omaha, Nebraska, and that primarily was what?
Black.
Yeah. So, and then, once we got from moving from, with my aunt, we moved over to South Omaha.
Okay.
But we didn't move deep into the heart of the Latin area. We were in like Little Italy.
Oh, okay.
There's and people don't even recognize there's a Little Italy around here,
down by Orsi's and all that.
There's a Greek area there's an ethnic area in itself. We was down in that area, you know what I'm saying? And we was all kind of all over the place at first with my mother, trying to find a place for us, and we kind of just went to school, but yeah, man, we just being around all the ethnicities probably was influential to me as well.
What type of impact did that have for you? Just being exposed and being around different cultures for you as you got older and as you grew up in the many different career fields and ventures that you had. How has that aided you? Because I know for many people, mm-hmm. like when they don't have that exposure, it's hard for them to sit in certain rooms. Mm-hmm. How has it been for you?
Oh man, please. With me, I'm a history guy. Man, I'm horrible at math, y'all. I'm glad we got the smartphones because I'm horrible at math. But I'm a history guy, and for some reason, I was drawn to history and understanding culture, even as a kid. And I think me wanting to understand, the Italian culture, the Irish culture, the African culture, me wanting to understand culture. It helped me deal with people into this day. If I had to go out to Brazil, what do you do, especially in this modern day era? You research the area you're going in. You understand the culture. If I'm going over to Italy, understand the culture. We got too much information out there for you not to understand the culture. If you go to Russia and you go to certain parts of that country, you got to understand the culture.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's no different here. If you are in the United States, there's certain areas that you have to understand the culture, because this country literally was made up of other countries. Before we became the United States, you had the Spanish, you had the Irish, you had all these different countries that came in to colonize the United States. So you have a whole lot of culture around the United States. So I think understanding culture and understanding history is probably more important for me as I've gotten older as an adult. And with knowing culture and knowing people, I think you can get along with people just a little bit more when you understand their culture.
Absolutely, absolutely. But how lost is it of an art to actually understand the person that is in your backyard?
I mean, a lot of people are scared.
Yeah,
that's all. And this is what's going on, I believe, today. People are trying to control other people through fear. If you had a Hispanic family down the street, you had a black family down the street, you had a white family down the street, you had an Asian family down the street, and y'all on the same block. I make it a point to understand who's all on the block. And that's just me, knowing who's all on the block, because once you plant your flag on in a certain neighborhood, and when I mean by living in a neighborhood at a house, you want to know who all you're dealing with, and I think it's hospitable to understand who you're living with, but at the same time, you won't get in people's business and all, but you want to know who you're around, though. Understand. I got to understand the culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know when the Sudanese first came here, I'm sure it was a culture shock from them in the 90s. But you just got to understand culture. There's the Vietnamese that's come here in the past couple of years that you got to assimilate to the culture.
Mm-hmm. Do you think with a lot of the new immigrants that are coming into the city, there's resistance, or do you think people are welcoming and open?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I think a lot of people are wanting to see, because a lot of the people that are coming in are coming from war-torn areas. That's first and foremost. You have to understand that. Because a lot of the churches are bringing a lot of those folks over to get out of those situations there. So, this again, if you understand that this whole country is made up from immigrants anyway, that should be a problem. But I do advise anybody that's coming over here to speak English. You at least got to speak English, or you get you a smartphone and speak into it.
Translate. Translate for me, please.
Translate. So you got to translate it. You got to translate it. But you should want other people to come over here to have a better life, because wherever they're leaving or coming from, it must not be the best situation they're in.
Yeah, and you make a good point, man. America as a whole was founded on a place of a whole bunch of different immigrants.
America was founded on people colonizing the area. They're the only original people that are from this land, or the people that were here before it, that we had to convince.
You wasn't here.
We're here to take care of you.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
We want to make things better for you.
How'd that work out? How'd that work out?
Exactly.
Boy.
And the moment that we actually acknowledge that, and when I say we, I mean the
country itself.
Yeah, the moment that the country itself acknowledges that, I think a lot of the issues that we're looking at and that we're dealing with will just like work themselves out.
I really do think that the majority of people in this country mean well. I do think people are territorial in where they live. Down south, I'm sure people are territorial about how they live down south, how they live out west, how they live up north, and how they live out east. That's a gang mentality right there. They got their own culture within a culture from a region. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I think people are pretty much good people, man. If you, and George Carlin is one of my favorite comedians. George Carlin said that he loves people when he's talking to people individually. Is when they become groups.
Oh yeah.
And become groups and have all these different group settings is where he don't like people. So just like when we're talking to each other individually. But what if we had about 10 or 15 people in here, and you had 2 people here that didn't like us?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Different conversation.
So he says he likes dealing with people individually than in groups.
That's the piece that we miss out on a lot, though, is like nobody will talk to people just one-on-one.
Yeah.
One-on-one. And social media has made it even more difficult because
that stopped when MySpace came
about. Man, MySpace.
You was in 6th grade. That came out. Man, now with social media is the gift and the curse. Everybody has an opinion. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. But but when you're influencing the masses, which is the group, and everyone's moving like sheep.
Yeah.
And they're just following people on that one and don't have this individual state of mind. It's that's what makes it difficult.
Absolutely. And it dehumanizes, like it takes away the human aspect. I just see you as another comment on this post that is controversial. Like, and you have a differing opinion, but then I look for the rest of the opinions that match the one that I'm being told from the people that I like, that I'm supposed to have. And now it's like, fuck you, fuck what you talking about.
Man, all the opinions, man. Again, it's just people's opinion. And guess what? When you finally see that person face to face, guess what? Your opinion changes real quick. If someone says, fuck you, I hate you because of your opinion, but then you see him at the store. Yeah, your opinion changes real fast. Yeah. So sometimes, as my friend P Minor would say, you can say what you want to say, but no one understands the consequences of what's being said. You know what I'm saying? So when you're commenting, just have some grace about what you're commenting about.
Absolutely.
I'm real protective on what I comment on. You know what I'm saying? So. And it's crazy because you can say it could be one word that's gotten arranged a different way in a comment that people would always get triggered off of.
Yeah, that's
triggered itself is a word that triggers people.
It really is. That's why I comment on nothing. I comment on nothing. Like when I see I'm just like.
But when I see injustices and when I see
that's different.
Yeah, when I see people getting wronged. And I see people being treated unfair. I have to comment.
Yeah.
Or you got to put something out there to where you letting people know that look, this is not right. There's wrong, right, and gray area. And a lot of people like to be in the gray area. But either you're right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, real quick, I almost forgot. As a licensed therapist, I'm big on mental health and I'm big on making sure that you're taking care of you. And I also want to get rid of this stigma that we got towards mental health. Like, there's nothing wrong with talking to a therapist. So if you're somebody that's out there that really wants to start getting their mind right, who wants to really start understanding their emotions and being able to process things that you probably repressed, that you probably ain't talked about, that you might have been even ashamed about talking about. Or check this out. You might not be ashamed about it and you just ain't found a person for you to talk to. You want to find somebody that's relatable, that can understand you. You got a little swag, you know what I'm saying? A little swag. And they not too far removed. Make sure that you tap in with Bare Company Counseling. All you got to do is hop down in the description, click the link, put in your info, and the front desk rep will reach out to you and get you plugged in with a therapist that I promise you, as long as you're ready, will help you to get whatever you need right up here so that you can succeed in every other avenue and aspect of your life. Tap in with a therapist today at Bare Company Counseling. Now you can get back to the video for real. I promise I won't hop back in again.
Absolutely. It's crazy that you say that. My pastor yesterday at church, he was bringing up a point. He was like, with everything that's been going on, I haven't responded to anything, but I haven't responded to anything not because I don't have an opinion, but because I want to make sure that my words are correct.
Yep.
And I look at myself, and a lot of times, like, that's the position that I take. Like, I want to be slow to what I say because my response is going to be one that it's one that is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm not just hopping on this next trend.
There's a comedian, again, and I love comedians. There's a comedian who had this joke where he asked his dad, what was the how did his mother and dad end up being together for so long?
Yeah.
And the dad said, don't say the first thing that comes out of your mouth. Say the third thing.
Yeah.
You got to think that through. Don't say the first thing that comes out of your mouth. Don't get hot and bothered and say that. Put your first opinion down. And he said, think about the third thing you would say to your wife or spouse.
Absolutely.
In a situation.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
I want to pivot a little bit, man.
Go ahead.
You fighting all throughout your childhood. fighting.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he was light skinned, which is
Hey, the 2 words I used to hear, especially in my first couple of years here and in East St. Louis, was piss color. I was piss color. you was probably called Chocolate Thunder.
I was, man. I was purple. Because as a kid,
Chocolate Thunder.
As a kid, I'm out in that sun, so the complexion really hit then.
Yeah, man.
Really
I get dark in the summertime too, though, but it's funny. But yeah, man. I thought my name was Piss Colored for a long time.
But no, you're fighting all throughout your childhood. When did it start to transition for you where it was like, okay, I'm nice at this. I can like look at taking this maybe to the next level, or even just the fact of like competing. Like, where did it start? Did you start with boxing? Did you start with Well,
you know what? It's funny because again, I was a good street fighter because I didn't hardly lose any fights. I'm gonna knock on some wood on that one. I might have got scuffled up a couple of times, but I was always a good street fighter and always a good athlete. But you have to go back to a friend of mine. Her name was Ann Houston, and she was part of one of the breakdancing crews that we was with coming up in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and there was this place in Omaha, Nebraska called Club Amnesia. And this wasn't me training or me going into some, because CW Boxing Club, everybody went to CW Boxing Club back in the day. I went a couple of times, and everyone had, they either wrestled at school or anything like that. I tried to wrestle at North High. Curly Alexander, my uncle, he was rough. He was rough, boy.
Yeah.
Hey, I went through a couple of training sessions with him at North. I was like, nah, can't wrestle. But a friend of mine went to this club in Omaha where they was doing these, and I think this was early 2000 when they was doing these MMA fights in a bar called Club Amnesia. Chad Mason presents, and every Thursday night or Tuesday night they would do these things, and they would have people sign up to face whoever, either the weight class or whatever like that.
This was some Fight Club shit.
Man, this was Fight Club. Hey, for real. This is Fight Club shit. And back then they had to where you could smoke. You could smoke in the bar.
Yeah.
Oh man, and so my friend Ann Houston, calling you out, she dared me because she knew I kind of wrestled and boxed, and she dared me to get into this ring. And to come to this place because she discovered this place where they would do this MMA fighting. And so I went, and I was like, oh, okay. This is like some gladiator shit. And she dared me to get in the ring. And so I'm not tripping. I used to work with Omni Engineering, and you know what Omni Engineering is?
Mm-mm.
And the asphalt company.
Okay.
So I had just did 12-hour shifts, and met my friend at this place to see what it was about. And she dared me, so I went and signed up. I signed up, and because you had to sign a waiver.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they put me in there with the biggest white dude that I saw at the time, and I don't know, he wrestled for UNO. I think it, yeah, but it was my first fight in that place, and they put these measly gloves on us. I had some shorts on, and it was smoke in this whole entire bar now, mind you. And this film is out there somewhere, man. Where does it? This dude was maybe 6'3", and smoke in the bar. And I just remember them ringing the bell, and I remember going out there, and I remember hitting this guy with an overhand right that busted his nose, and he started leaking like a faucet.
Oh,
it was blood everywhere. I ain't never seen that much blood.
Yeah.
It was blood everywhere, and then we were wrestling and moving around. I was dinking him. He didn't. I was fortunate that he hit me, but he was a big guy and tried to pick me up, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
And man, after about 2 rounds, man, they stopped the fight because it was so smoky in that bar. So, but all I can remember was all this blood all over the place. And I remember coming back the next week, and that guy never came back.
Oh damn!
And he was like, I think he was like the Brawls champion at the time.
Oh, you made him.
He
You made him have an epiphany. He had an epiphany on life.
No, he never came back. I never saw him out there. But so then, the promotion with Chad saw that what I was doing at the time, and every week they would invite me back, and they would put me in the ring with somebody, and I would just let everybody have it. I was letting everybody have it every single week, and I was getting paid. I was getting, boom, 300.
So it was good money.
400.
Yeah.
That's rent money.
Yeah,
That's rent money. So shouts out to Chad, but he paid me to come back every week, and I just started clicking on and started just finding a rhythm with it, man. And I just knew that you couldn't get there smoking. You couldn't get in there drinking. This is not one of those situations where you go in there out of shape. And I used to see gang members get in there, get ass whooped. I used to see people of all types of mixed martial arts get in there and get their ass whooped. But yeah, that's how it started for me through a dare from my friend.
So at this time, you had no like real technical training.
No. At that time, outside of going to the boxing gym a couple of times, or attempting to try to wrestle at North High.
Yeah,
that was it.
Damn,
that was it.
And you was laying hands.
Dog, I was letting them have it. I'm trying to tell you. I mean, it must have been the built-up anger for being called piss color all my life.
He said, "You ain't do it, but you gonna get this.
You gonna get these hands." And I'm not talking about praying.
I feel it.
But yeah, man. Hey, I think it was more so a release too.
Yeah,
it was more so release. So and it was a gladiator moment where you heard the cheers of the crowd. You heard these, and you hear all these bloodthirsty people out there in the crowd going crazy, and it was intoxicating to win.
Yeah,
and get paid at the same time.
Facts. Where does it build from there? So you're doing this, you whooping ass, you getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
How did the transition go from that to now?
Oh man, easy.
Yeah.
Chad Mason. I started training with Chad Mason. I started traveling all over the Midwest, and I started learning technical boxing. I started learning jiu-jitsu. I started learning all these different types of other martial arts to help me, get even better. Because athletic and strong wise, wasn't nobody messing with me back then. Because I used to lift every single day, every day. So I was as strong as an ox. But technically, I had to understand the technical part of all what I was doing. And Chad Mason was one of the first guys that I started dealing with until, I started really, really, really climbing the ladder. Because it was a lot of fights, man. I've probably had since 2002, I had over 200 fights.
Jeez.
And, and some of those are not official because some of those are not on the record. Obviously, I fought 5 times in one night. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so man, it's crazy, man. But it's something and the reason why I believe I loved it so much because I had to be in shape for it, and I really was into health, and I was really into trying to keep myself in shape, and I think that's another reason why I kept doing it to stay in shape.
Yeah. So how were you able to secure a contract with the UFC? Because I think for a lot of people in mixed martial arts, like that's like the ultimate goal.
Yeah, and here we're gonna get this straight first.
Yeah,
stop calling MMA UFC.
Yeah,
that's two different things. That's like saying, oh man, I do NBA, I do NFL, yeah. I do it. Now UFC is the organization.
MMA is the sport.
Fighting Championship. That's the name of the organization. MMA is what people do.
Yeah.
Mixed martial arts is a combination of what Bruce Lee used to do back then. And I think Bruce Lee did it best, where he combined jiu-jitsu, karate, boxing. He was one of the first guys I knew that combined all those different forms of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's MMA, not UFC. And me being on the circuit for a long, at this time, I'm on the circuit. I'm traveling all over the Midwest, fighting all these different people all over. And I had got into there was at the casino. I believe it was one of the casinos north of Omaha, by Sioux City. There was a tournament that I was invited to, and so I went by myself, and I went with a good friend of mine, Joe Navarro. He was supposed to be my corner man, but he ended up gambling. He ended up gambling one of my fights. Oh man, I'm putting you out there, Joe. Oh, he was gambling during one of my fights. It was a tournament for someone to get a contract to go down to Hawaii, and I really wanted to go to Hawaii.
Yeah,
but when I got there, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm about 210. I'm about 210. That's probably the heaviest I've been back then. And I saw guys who were monsters, 235, 240. They was monsters. Hey, you had police officers, you had wrestlers, you had all these different people in this event. And the promoter at the time was promoting this guy from I don't know if he was from the West Coast, but they just saying that he might be the next guy to go to the next level. And guess who I get my first fight?
You got that guy.
I got that guy. I'm trying to remember his name, but I just remember him being tall, muscular, and he had long, flowing locks.
Okay.
I remember it, man, and I think that video is out there too. But I remember the start of the bell, and this is a tournament at a casino, and the prize is supposed to be us going to compete in Hawaii. My first fight was with the guy who everyone thought was going to win. First fight, I get out there, and man, I hit this guy so hard and knocked him down, and from that point in time, grounded and pounded to where he couldn't get up anymore, and he laid out right there on the floor.
Jeez.
And that was like 36 seconds. 45 seconds. I let him have it immediately, and so. And matter of fact, I end up being co-winner of the whole tournament.
Oh dang!
I was co-winner. I say co-winner because the guy that I fought said that I need him in his face, which was BS. I need him in his chest on the ground, but they stopped the fight. Whatever. We both got the cake. Whatever. I got my money. I left and ended up. Maybe a month or so later after that, I'm with my kids at the park. I get a call from the promoter, and he asks me, "Hey, I'm thinking I'm going to Hawaii." He said, "Hey, man, I got a fight for you. You might be interested in." I'm like, "Well, what? Am I going to Hawaii?" He said, "No. There's an alternate that we need for this this UFC fight." I'm like, well, UFC fight? He said, yeah, UFC fight. And I said, okay, cool. And with me, back then, I was fighting people twice my size, obviously. And I said, okay, what's the weight? What do we fight at? He said 205. I said, you know what? Sign me up.
He said easy.
Easy. 205? Please. I was fighting guys twice my size. And then he told me who the guy was. He said, the guy's name is Keith Jardine. And I'm like, who was that? Because see, contrary to what people think, I wasn't even watching UFC back then.
Yeah. I
was too busy out there fighting to be watching UFC back then. And so when he asked me, I said, I'll do it. And next thing you know, I'm at UFC, I believe 71. I had to get a coaching staff together. I had and I had to literally get ready for this fight, and which was in March, which was maybe 3 months later.
Mm.
And
that's a quick camp.
And it was quick, but I got a good staff together with Curly Alexander, Mick Doyle, all these guys that got set up and for me to go in and handle our business. So that's how it started for us. From a tournament in a damn near Iowa, Nebraska side, to go on, to get in a contract to go down there and compete in UFC 71.
Yeah. What was the experience like for you getting a contract once you did, getting the contract with them and then actually like being a big name in the UFC?
Well, how that happened. So now, I believe once we competed at UFC 71 with Keith, and the manager at the time had told those people down at UFC 71, Dana White and all those guys, that my guy is going to beat your guy. He's literally telling them that he believes that I can beat this guy. And this guy was ranked 4th in the world at the time. He was number 3 or something at the time. And so we get there, and back then there was no YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have no film on me. They didn't have nothing on me back then. They didn't know I had all these fights, and all they know is that these few fights that I had that were sanctioned.
Yeah.
And it was a trip, man, because once we got there, you could just feel there was a different energy when you know that the next level's coming, because we got off out of the van and went to the facility where we were supposed to go, and you could just tell there was a change of energy, and then you could just see people, you just coming up to you and they're asking you your feelings on the fight and stuff like that, and it's a cool feeling, because I was always kind of already prepared, because at the same time I'm fighting, I'm doing radio. So I knew
You knew how to talk.
I knew how to talk to the people. I knew how to talk to them. I knew how to conduct myself. And that was the cool thing about my life's journey, is that the positions I was in and the jobs I've had helped me with what I was doing at the time. So as soon as they came up to me, I knew what to do with radio, and with television, because I did television too before that. And all I remember with my first UFC experience is that, they didn't really care about us being from Omaha, Nebraska. Obviously, it's a small Midwestern city, and they didn't expect anything from us at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very determined, because I just remember getting up that whole week and jogging down that main strip every day, focused. And the day of the fight, I remember, I had all my gear out, and this is how crazy it is. And I'm gonna tell your audience that how people have their the shirts that they wear to the ring, where they got all the sponsorship shirts. This is how ghetto, this is how crazy it was for me, because at the time I was working for Foot Locker. Okay. I was working for Foot Locker, but next door to Foot Locker, there was a t-shirt store. And all the sponsors that I got, I went to the t-shirt store, got a white t-shirt, and I pressed all my sponsors on this white t-shirt. Okay?
Yeah.
I had on front and back, had all my sponsors front and back. And that's how I get it. We didn't have no printers. I just got it done. And we needed a t-shirt. And I went next door and got this done. So the night of the fight, I got my t-shirt on, I got my shorts on, and we looking out before we go out to the ring. We looking out, and if you ever saw a UFC fight, they show the fighters talking crazy before they come out.
Yep.
And I could actually see my opponent going, why am I supposed to be fighting this guy? This guy is some nobody from X amount of city, and why should I should be fighting a contender? And I was like, I looked over at this. I'm like, man, this guy's really talking greasy about us. And because we don't see the interviews beforehand, we see them before we're going out.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, okay, I got you. I told my coach, I told Curly Alexander, I said, hey man, hand me that hat right there. Because I was gonna wear the hat after we whooped on him. I said, no, we're gonna wear that hat right now. And it just happened to be a Nebraska hat. Because, back then, anytime I went to a different city, I would wear, Omaha or a Nebraska shirt, letting everybody know that this is the neighborhood we was from. I was representing the neighborhood, not just the state, but the neighborhood I was from. And put that hat on. And I told the cameraman before he opened up that curtain, I said, when you open up that curtain, I said, you put that camera straight on his hat. I said, do not put it in my face. Just put it on his hat. And as soon as they called us out, open up the curtain, he put it straight on his hat. And I did this. I pointed right at this hat. And then that's when I started walking out. I was so mad. Ooh. I'm getting emotional thinking about it now, man, because I just remember being so mad. And being and it felt really disrespected, but it was disrespecting, our team. And as we're walking out, and if you go back and watch the footage, you can see all the lights coming down on my ghetto ass white shirt. And guess what? It just happened to be a perfect storm because it was all white. And when the lights hit it, you can see every sponsor on that shirt. From the front to the back, you saw every sponsor.
It's crazy. It's crazy because, again, man, growing up and just watching it, you don't understand this perspective.
Yeah.
You just see somebody from where you from on a big stage.
Yeah.
And that's it. And not understand that, man, it wasn't all what you thought it was. Like, I didn't know you made your shirt and you put your sponsorships on.
If you go back and watch that, man, you look it up. All my sponsors, I pressed that on a t-shirt right next to the Foot Locker I worked at.
But somebody from the outside looking in is gonna they would look at that time and think like, dang, like this dude got all this, like he looks official. He looks like he's supposed to be here.
Yeah, man. And it's crazy because once I got there, you get to the ring, and I'm trying to explain the experience to your audience because that's what you asked me to do, right? Yeah. We get to the ring, I take my sponsorship shirt off, and you take the hat off, and they grease you down. They do all that, the whoop-de-whoop. And see, mind you, back then, being in the UFC kind of meant something special. You know why? Because they didn't allow everybody in. Right now, it seems like they're allowing everybody in as alternates all the time because they got to make up for the time because they got to show fights every week.
Yeah,
they have main events probably every month, but they have UFC fights every week. But back then,
it was rare.
They were really exclusive.
Yeah.
So when we got there, and got in. And you do the hugging of the coaches. I got into the ring and I was like, man, I was like, this is some soft, slippery shit right here. that was the first thing that came to mind. I'm like, hold on, this is soft and I really hated the UFC's ring because it was too slippery, and I think they did that on purpose for if people fall down, because if you have some type of grip in there, the punches would be harder.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they got it now. But back then it was so soft and slippery, it was like being on ice.
Oh dang.
Yeah. So get in the ring. We see our opponent coming down the way, looking real scary, looking real mean. I'm like, this man's 6'2", 6'3". I'm like, oh, I've seen this picture before. I've seen this type of fighter before because I've been fighting them for the past 7 years.
Yeah.
People twice my size. So when they said 205, I was like, oh man, he got in the ring. They called the fight, got out there, man, and we got to moving around. And as soon as he hit me, our light just went off. Man, I backed this man up in the corner, man, and I tried my best to kill this man. I just remember going through it, and I tried my best to kill this man. And that was my mentality, because people also don't know when I'm across the ring from somebody, I picture that person trying to molest my kids.
Yeah. Hey, you got it. You got to go there, man.
You got to
go there.
So, hey, I tried to murder this man, and man, when it was after the 40-something seconds, I need this dude in the chest. His mouthpiece came out, and I stood over him, and I said a few choice words to him, you know, and no one knows what I had said to him when I stood over him. So,
What you say?
oh, you really want me to tell him?
Yeah, come on.
I said, get up, motherfucker, get up. I said, I'm not done. That's what I said. So if you look over at that footage from that, you can hear me going. And I remembered my adrenaline just going so much, and then they pulled me off. The ref had to pull me off. He pulled me away, and so I was so amped up. That's why you see me bouncing up and down, and because I was just that amped up, and because first we told him that we was gonna beat this guy, no problem. Because like I said, I've been fighting people twice my size before that, and when, you know, and it was funny because shouts out to some kids from Kearney, Nebraska. Though there was a whole school of kids from Kearney, Nebraska that
Came to watch.
and who came to watch the UFC fight.
Man.
And when I for some reason I just said Nebraska was in the building, and then you heard that one section over there. But you know, when you look at the replays of that fight, and I'm going back because this is a mental note for all the people that you know, you go back and you look at and don't even look at the fight. Look at the expression of those people's faces when they saw what this dude did to this guy who was ranked 4th in the world. They were in disbelief. I've never seen so many people in disbelief ever in my life. They were in shock. And when that happened, and you heard all those people just the roar, that takes you back to the Amnesia days from 84th Street when I first signed up. And that's where the mental part goes 360, full circle. I went from the bar to the highest organization in the world in that moment. And the first thing I thought about was the people back home. And that's why I said the Nebraska in the building thing.
Yeah.
Because I thought about the state wasn't about the football team. It was about all the hard work from when I first came here from East St. Louis up until being an adult and all the people that I have dealt with over the years. That was that moment for all of them, and not just for me.
Was it a lot of pressure on your shoulders?
No. No, man, I'm telling you, man. I fought in bars. I fought in football fields. I fought in every arena possible. So getting there, that was easy.
Yeah.
You just had to look at the whole situation. At getting out, it was easy. It was easy. But you know, we won. We won a fight after that. But then we started losing, and we started losing, not because I didn't have the capability to win. What happened was they took a pit bull. They took a pit bull who was raw and who was untamed and who was just, you know, fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And they started training me. They started, you know, you had to learn.
Took away the dog.
I had to learn this.
Yeah.
I had to learn this. So when you're in the ring and when you're doing something as brutal as combat sports, you cannot sit up there and have to think about each move. If you're thinking about each move, you're one step behind.
Yeah,
you're one step behind. So they took and that's the only analysis I can give with the fighting. They took the pit bull out of the pit bull, and it was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You should be not thinking. So that's why you go back to the conversation about Kimbo. People saw a tamed dog out there moving around, kicking, moving around. They wanted to see the pit bull, and they didn't get that. So now I get it. I get that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
At this time, you had kids, yeah?
Yep.
Did the demand of all the training, being in the UFC, working the radio station, doing everything that you were doing
Now
at
I
that
was
time,
still doing a school tour.
still doing school tour,
And we was opening up with my breakdancing crew.
Yeah.
We were opening up for different hip hop acts, rap acts. We were still doing that.
So that too.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing, did it make it hard for you to be present with your kids at
No, man,
during
my
that
kids
time?
were with me all the time.
Okay, fast.
Yeah,
fast.
my kids went to the gym with me, you know, and I went to school events. My kids were living with me.
Yeah.
Man. So it was nothing. We had to move like the military, and I remember having my Astro. I had an Astro van back then, brother.
You had the little TV in the front?
Hold on, hold on. I had an Astro van, and if anybody know anything about Astro van, I had a brown and gold Astro van with gold Dayton's and Vogues
Some
on it.
13s?
And no 13s.
No.
They was maybe 14s.
Okay.
And me and my kids was rolling. We was rolling all the time, man. So that was nothing. And I knew how to balance all that at the time, and I was cool. I was cool. So anybody say that men can multitask,
Yeah.
I did a hell of a good job.
He said I did.
But
that.
but it was just doing it, man. And when Nike first came out with that slogan, "Just do it," I thought that was the stupidest ad ever. And then, because I helped train people as well, well, I told this individual, stop doing what you do and just do it. And I was like,
He said, "Oh, oh."
I felt stupid as hell. I was like, you know what? That was that, and then that became the best slogan only because, man, you just do it. And stop thinking about it. Just do it. And that's all I did was just do it. Half the battle, and I tell a lot of people now, half the battle is showing up. When you hit me up, half the battle is showing up.
Yeah. Couple more questions because we getting close to time.
It's all good.
Another thing that I remember from my childhood that a lot of people they don't even know about this no more. Sports science.
Oh, okay,
He was on the sports science episode. That was another thing. I'm like, man, that's crazy. He from the city and he on this show that I be watching.
But Peyton, that's crazy that you bring all this stuff up because there was a lot of things that I had did that probably didn't get the attention because we're not in the social media era. But the sports science thing was crazy.
That was crazy.
Yo, that was great. 'Cause I did two. I ended up doing two.
Yeah.
I ended up doing two.
Yeah.
And because I did the one, and they called me back for the other one, so it was that was pretty dope. So we got a call back. Mick Doyle at the time was one of my trainers. They called him and asked him, "Hey, can we?" And we had an agent at the time too. Asked, "Hey, can you come out and do this show?" And we went out and did this show, and it was this new show called Sports Science, where they would analyze different things.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to analyze my rage.
Yeah, they gave you that adrenaline.
And they wanted to give me adrenaline, and then they wanted to know what my natural rage was. And if you go back, for the audience, if you go back and watch, and rest in peace.
We're gonna cut that video. No, we're gonna put the video on here. So
word. Hey, rest in peace to I forgot the gentleman's name who created Sports Science. He passed last year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. He went from it because it was his show, but then he incorporated it with Sports Center. Because he started doing stuff with Sports Center, which was really cool. So I don't know what he passed from, but I hate that I'm forgetting his name right now but he was a really good guy. But yeah, rest in peace to him. But they called us out there, and we went out there, man, to California, and we filmed it. And they was like, "We got to do what? Where? Ooh!" I took my coach out there. They said, we want you to get mad, and then we're gonna give you some adrenaline to see how hard you hit. I'm like, all right, cool, that's cool. First time. They asked me to do the punch the dummy.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted the coach to get me mad, so they looked at me, and they was like action, and the coach went in. He got to yelling in my face. So hey, the one thing that Canelo's people should have did with Canelo, they should have yelled in his face to go out there and fight instead of giving up, because Bud was putting it on him. Bud was putting it on him. He was getting frustrated. And his team should have did the same thing my coach did on Sports Science, which yell in my face and say that you. I hate losing, man. I even to this day I hate losing, and he got me so amped up. When I went to go hit the dummy, and the dummy, you think it's a dummy where it's all plastic?
Yeah, no, it was
Behind that
replica.
dummy,
It was bones.
No. It was steel.
Oh
Man, there was that plastic face.
Oh,
man,
no.
that was steel behind that, man. I was hitting that. That wasn't.
So he was feeling all them hits.
Dog, I was feeling everything.
Yeah.
And I hit that thing so hard, man. I was that. But see, and also I could have hit it harder if they would have let me put it in position. They made me drop my hand. You're supposed to have your hand up when you're hitting that cross. But they told me to bring it down so they wanted to see my face. So which took all. It would have been harder than that if they would have let me put it in position. But then they gave me the adrenaline, and I ended up getting mad off that. It was cool, but I was hotter without the adrenaline.
Yeah.
I got mad without the adrenaline.
I feel that. We coming up on time, man. This has been a real good conversation, and there's so much more that we could have.
Oh man, we got to do it again
because you said it.
Because there's so many things. There's so many things that we missed out on that we could have talked about that has something to do with the mental health aspect of it. Talking about where my mental mind state or anybody's mental mind state when they're multitasking like that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And any athlete that has been in that area learns how to mentally focus and get that stuff done.
You have to,
as I'm sure you do.
Absolutely,
no doubt.
And listen, y'all heard him say it. We gotta get another one in. So
we gotta get another one.
So
man.
we gonna get another one in.
I'm feeling jealous though because I'm tall, dark, and handsome, man. How you go from sixth grade? How you go from sixth grade to being tall, dark, and handsome? I hate you. I'm hating Peyton on his own podcast.
I feel it. Real quick, man. Go ahead. I want you to leave the people with something here today. Like if there was one thing that they could take from your journey, from your story, from things that you went through, and they could take it and literally as they turn this off, go and apply it to their life, their mindset, whatever it is. Go ahead.
I don't want to say anything cliche. I want to get to the common sense of what you're trying to achieve and what I've been trying to do my whole entire life. I've always tried to do the right thing. I had a grandmother, I had a mother, I had a father, I had everyone always telling me to do the right thing because it's hard to do the right thing, but it's easy to do the wrong things. That's why you see so many people getting into trouble all the time because it's just easier to do the wrong thing and not the right thing. And so, man, just have common sense, do the right thing, and just say what you're gonna do and do what you say. Say what you're gonna do and do what you say. Try to do the right thing and try to be a good person. I know it's hard to do that in today's society, but I respect people who respect me. I respect situations that I have to respect. So there's a lot of things you can get out of that. Respect, doing the right thing, and being good to people. It's just real simple. It's a real simple formula to have. But don't let anyone or any situation disrespect you in the process.
Come on.
That's it.
And then real quick, go ahead and let everybody know if they wanna connect with you or if they want to know more about the after school programs and the things that you're doing in the community. Where can they tap in?
Well, obviously we got Facebook, we got Instagram, and all you have to do is just you look the name up, look my name up, and it pretty much goes to all those different social media platforms. But we're still doing stuff in the schools. We're still doing stuff for people in the community, and that ain't gonna stop. So if you want to get a hold of me, and I'm DJing, I got my own businesses
and you got a radio show that you're doing,
and we got the radio show.
Where's that at? When is it?
With Culture Shock Radio, and that's on 89th of the River. And again, we're doing a lot of things. I do a lot of things to keep me out of trouble. Come on now.
I feel it.
I do a lot of things to keep me out of trouble too. So if you want to do anything with me, all you gotta do is just you can Google and it'll come up with all the social media sites, and let's do some work together.
Come on. Y'all, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of the CYR podcast, because when you clean your room, you change your life. We out.
Changing your life with I make my bed every day.
Come on. Hey, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
I make that bed. I make that every day. Yeah. Every day. Like what? Like you